The Zelda series is massive. It's one of the longest running video game franchises ever, and the overall quality of the games in the series is second to none. Because of this, there's an incredible amount of content packed into Link's quests across Hyrule and beyond. There are countless secrets, Easter eggs, and hidden details. So let's run through the main series Zelda games in order of release and pick out an Easter egg or reference from each one, starting all the way back in 1986 with the original The Legend of Zelda. The original Zelda game's dungeons are accessed from various points across the overworld, many in secret or otherwise hard to reach locations. They're labyrinths made up of a handful of little rooms, and the layout of these rooms often makes shapes, like an eagle, a moon, a snake, or a skull. But the maps for the first 5 dungeons in the game's second quest instead resemble letters, and can be rearranged to spell out Zelda. The second game in the series, Adventure of Link, takes place in a much larger scale Hyrule than its predecessor, now with entire islands and towns, but we can still see the Hyrule from the original game, here, just south of Death Mountain. Again, the scale is different, but this lines up perfectly. Death Mountain to the north, the same lake in the centre, a graveyard and the Lost Woods in the west. Jumping over to the Super Nintendo now with A Link to the Past, and what better Easter egg to cover than the infamous Chris Houlihan room. The game features a fail-safe room where it places Link if it can't quite work out where he's supposed to be. It can be accessed in a handful of different ways, like using a bomb to knock Link into this hollow tree trunk. The room is empty aside from a sea of blue rupees, but also features a tile on the wall at the back. If Link interacts with it, he'll see the message, "My name is Chris Houlihan. This is my top secret room. Keep it between us, okay?" It seems that Chris Houlihan was the winner of a contest held by Nintendo Power magazine, where the winner would have their name immortalized in a game on the NES. And sure enough, his name only appears in the English localization. There's very little information out there on the truth behind Chris Houlihan and his secret room, but by now it's one of the most iconic video game secrets. Link's Awakening famously pits Link against a whole host of Mario enemies, like boos, piranha plants, bloopers, Cheep Cheeps, thwomps and more. But it also features an enemy from a different Nintendo series, Kirby. Kirby's, also known as anti-Kirby's, are found in the Eagle's Tower, and as you'd expect, try to swallow Link. Ocarina of Time's Malon and Talon run Lon Lon Ranch in Hyrule Field, a humble farmstead where Link can find and befriend Epona. It's pretty well known that Talon and Ingo, his employee, were designed to resemble Mario and Luigi, but a more subtle reference to the Mario games is found on Malon and Talon's clothing. They both wear a brooch depicting Bowser. Majora's Mask's Termina is home to some of the strangest characters in the series, none more so than the enigmatic Happy Mask salesman. The hero of time first encountered the salesman in Ocarina of Time, where he runs the Happy Mask shop, but in Majora's Mask we find him during his travels in search of masks, trying to recover the relics stolen from him by the Skull Kid. Because he's travelling, he wears a huge backpack covered in various masks, some of which reference other games or popular culture, like Mario and Elvis. While Oracle of Seasons takes place in Holodrum, a land terrorized by General Onox, its counterpart game Oracle of Ages is instead set in Labrynna, where Link faces off against the sorceress Veran. In both games, though, the main villains are served by the Vaya, a bat-like demon, and if playing through Oracle of Ages as part of a linked game, this secondary antagonist kidnaps Zelda and holds her captive in the Black Tower. Link, of course, sets out to rescue her, and climbs through the tower in a 2D scrolling section while avoiding the Vaya's fireballs. This segment is incredibly similar to the 1981 arcade game Donkey Kong, with the projectile-throwing villain standing at the top with an imprisoned damsel in distress, and is most likely intended as a reference to it. In Oracle of Seasons, Link can find Holly's house in the Woods of Winter, with the door blocked by snow. He can enter by hopping down the chimney, and when he bumps into Holly, she'll be upset because she thought he was Santa, implying that Holodrum is visited by Father Christmas every year. Four Swords let the four Links play around with a handful of interesting items, and perhaps the best among them is, bizarrely, the Chain Chomp, known as the Bow Wow in most versions, just like in Link's Awakening. Obviously based on the Super Mario enemy, the Chain Chomp will lunge at anything that gets too close, including other Links. The Nintendo Gallery is found in the southeastern corner of the Wind Waker's Great Sea, hidden away in an island near Forest Haven. It's run by Karlov, who will carve and paint figurines of characters and enemies from Link's pictographs. Behind Karlov is a huge collection of seemingly random items, though many of them reference other games in the series, like how the Bunny Hood, All Night Mask, Goron Mask and Keaton Mask, obviously all from Majora's Mask, can be found hanging on the wall. The Minish Cap is my personal favourite 2D Zelda game, and one of the best things about it is the atmosphere it's able to capture despite the hardware limitations, especially in the game's dungeons. In terms of design and theme, one of my favourites is the Royal Crypt, the mini-dungeon where the spirit of King Gustaf resides. Because this tomb heavily references the original Legend of Zelda, not just in the music, which is a version of the original game's dungeon theme, but in the enemies present here too, and even the sound effects. Causing a small key to drop here will instead play the Zelda 1 hidden item sound effect. The Village of the Blue Maidens is a mysterious location in Four Swords Adventures, where the children have vanished and are now trapped in the Dark World. The level's theme music is an eerie, unsettling rendition of the classic Kakariko Village theme. Koro is a salesman who lives in Twilight Princess's Faron Woods. He has a particular affinity for birds, and one of his pets, Trill, runs another shop in the region, close to the Forest Temple. Trill sells potions and lantern oil, but because he's a bird, he can't directly take payment. Instead, Link must deposit rupees into a box after he's filled up his bottles. Or does he? Link can instead leave without paying Trill, who will become violently angry, pecking him and calling him thief. This is a callback to Link's Awakening, where it's possible to leave the shop without paying for goods, which will cause the shopkeeper to label you a thief and kill you with a laser beam. Phantom Hourglass serves as a direct sequel to The Wind Waker, featuring the very same incarnation of Link once again sailing across open seas. This time, though, they're the mysterious waters of the World of the Ocean King. One of the islands Link can visit is DS Island, a not so subtle nod to the Nintendo DS. Spirit Tracks follows on around a century after the events of Phantom Hourglass, set on an entirely new continent, imaginatively named New Hyrule. Though Tingle doesn't appear in any of the games that directly follow on from The Wind Waker, including Spirit Tracks, we can see that his legend lives on. Figurines of the 35-year-old fairy can be found in some houses, and a golden Tingle statue rests on the shelves in Linebeck's shop, though sadly it can't be purchased. Skipper was the captain of the Sand Ship in a time long before Skyward Sword. His home is Skipper's Retreat, found in the Sand Sea, and inside we can find photographs or paintings of his life, like him and his crew on the deck of the Sand Ship, the ship out at sea, and what appears to be two ancient robots recreating a scene from Titanic. Throughout the houses in Hyrule and Lorule in A Link Between Worlds are paintings, and many of them reference other games in the series. Here we can see the face of Makar from The Wind Waker, and the crayfish design from Link's Outset Island clothes. There's also a harp and a violin, the instruments played by Makar and Medley, a design showing a Loftwing's face above a depiction of an ancient robot, both from Skyward Sword, the Ocarina of Time, and Ravio's shop even has Majora's Mask hanging on the wall, at just the right height for Link to wear if he merges with it. Triforce Heroes carries on the torch from Four Swords and Four Swords Adventures as a multiplayer Zelda experience, but to fit with the Triforce theme, one of the Four Swords links had to be dropped, and so Purple Link was left behind. In the game's single-player mode, Link must use a red and a blue doppel to simulate the other two players, between which the player can switch who they control. And in the eastern side of Hytopia, tucked behind a tree, we can find a broken, discarded doll that looks just like Link. It's covered in dust and its colour has long since faded, but this is probably meant to be the unused doppel for Purple Link. Breath of the Wild is, in many ways, a reimagining of the very first Zelda game, and is drenched in references to the NES classic. One of my favourites can be found by translating the Sheikah runes present all throughout their ancient structures. Most of these just translate to simple things like dungeon inside shrines, but the runes seen when distilling Sheikah runes in the Great Plateau shrines translates to "Master using it and you can have this," which is the line spoken to Link by the old men who gift him the white and magical swords. And translating the runes seen inside the beacons Link can place on the map will read, "It's dangerous to go alone," the famous words given to Link alongside the wooden sword at the start of the game. Thanks for watching this video. How many of these Easter eggs and secrets did you know? Let me know in the comments down below. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.